Hey, how you going? Welcome to my 182nd video upload from Aspie with Attitude. My name is David, I'm from Melbourne, Australia. I have a speech impairment, have autism, have Asperger's syndrome, and that's why I call myself an Aspie. And now, before I just want to dive into this video content and just neat myself up, yes, please don't forget to subscribe to this video channel. Well, that's all I ask for in terms of support. If you really like what I'm actually doing here, well, especially if you send this for the very first time. What I do in this channel is just talk about autism, anything about autism, for politics, for life hacks, and also always like to talk about myself. Well, since I'm actually in the habit of sometimes obsessing over the clothes I wear, just how I like to wear my collegiate tracksuits in each and every video uploads I do, and the fidget spinner. Before I come to this point of the video content, I'd like to give you a rundown on who the Maori people are. The Maoris are the current traditional landowners of New Zealand, also a member of the Eastern Polynesian group. These people had first arrived in New Zealand in around about the mid-14th century, around the same time when the bubonic plague epidemic, also known as the Black Death, had struck Europe. Except the Maori people were never affected by the plague since they had no contact with any Europeans and they were all just living down under in the southern hemisphere, settling on the New Zealand islands, which is actually pretty much far away from the Australian east coast. Each of the Maori people had arrived in 5 large canoes. That's what I had been told, and I had also been told that each of these 5 large canoes had names and they even carried hundreds of people on board. Because once they arrived in New Zealand, each of our 5 canoes had formed 5 basic tribes, and before European settlements, the Maoris had decided to actually go tribal. In their times, before contact with any outsiders like the Europeans, they each developed a rich culture of organised settlements and organised villages without any use of bricks, pottery or any metalwork or metal tools. And they remained using stone and wood, considering that they were made famous for all their wood carvings. And they even sustained agriculture without any use of livestock such as sheep and cattle, and instead they went fishing and they hunted birds that were good to eat. And they weren't unified people before they joined the British Empire back in 1838. The Maoris fought against each other like the ancient European tribes such as the Germanic and the Celtic people, and they lived similar lifestyles as the Sao and the Iroquois tribes of America. So anyway, what does this all have to do with autism then? So who am I telling this story? First off, we needed to know who the Maori people are, and since that the Maori culture still remains strong in New Zealand as of today, it was in year 2017. A New Zealand autism advocacy group called Altogether Autism had actually coined a new word. So what was this new word anyway? It was Takiwatanga, which translates as in their own time and space, since that word was all coined by a mental health advocate. His name is Kerry Aspie. So since that word is attached to autism acceptance, well anyway, that's how I feel about it. My favourite word for autism acceptance is just light up red. Yeah, anyway, that's why I want to wear this in the video content. So the word Takiwatanga feels like an extremely powerful word in the Maori language once it describes autism acceptance. Not only just for individuals who are on the autism spectrum, this also could include individuals with cerebral palsies and Down syndromes. Ableism and discrimination has always been the problem, considering that acceptance of individuals with these challenges is the solution. Like, to get into another story though, like, I even had a great aunt in New Zealand living in the city called Christchurch who had Down syndromes. It was going way back in the 1960s and the 1970s, around about that time when those institutions closed down, and my great aunt with Down syndromes was to be released into neurotypical driven society. Once my great aunt with Down syndromes was released into this outside world, she had to face ableism and discrimination towards her. Even while she was still living at that institution, she had faced discrimination from recovering heroin addicts who just chose to live their adult lives as pathetic losers. So this is all happening in New Zealand. While my other great aunt, who was neurotypical, had actually made a complaint on talkback radio, I think in Christchurch. Well, however it is, this is all in New Zealand. And she actually explained this story on radio. As it happens, her story was heard in New Zealand Parliament over in Wellington, I think in the Beehive, if they've actually built a beehive back around about that time. Does it really matter? This story actually got heard in New Zealand Parliament, and in this moment that I'm filming this video, now this story has now also made it onto YouTube on Aspie with Attitude. So like, I did actually meet the great aunt who was neurotypical and made a complaint about her sister with Down syndromes being discriminated. So like, I got to meet her back in October 2001 when I was on a family vacation in New Zealand. Well anyway, that's all I have to say about this anyway. So like, before I actually conclude this video, therefore, how cool this Maori word Takiwatanga is. Well anyway, it's a powerful word to fight against discrimination in a positive way, like without using a negative way, how I call these heroin addicts pathetic losers, since I just couldn't help myself doing it. So like, anyway, if you like this video content, please like and share this video upload, because that's all I ask for in terms of you supporting this channel, since it will help our algorithm to help this video and the channel to grow. And also you can ring this notification bell if you wish to keep up to date with this channel after you have subscribed to show more support to this channel. Anyway, this is just where it all ends if you've been watching this for the first time. Yeah, with the fidget spinner and my nose here. So if I keep my head straight. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to Aspie with Attitude. Peace and respect. And see you next time from Aspie with Attitude.